G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. Just going to be having a look at MX Linux 19 Beta 2. I want to have a look at the install, so we're going to get on with that right now. We're going to start with, actually wrong one, gparted. So I've got a couple of partitions here. I'm going to delete those. Now I've got MX19 on here already. I'm going to delete that and delete this. Apply that. We're going to make a FAT32 partition for boot. And we'll make a 61440, which is a 60 gig ext4 primary partition for the system, and we'll make another one, whatever's remaining, for as a data partition. Let's apply that, close that, and we shall right click on the boot partition and manage flags, and we'll give that a boot ESP, which is how I normally go about that. So that's start the installer. Now you can run Partition Tool, which is the same as what we just did. It's just a nice handy little feature there to have. Once the installer's up and running, it gives you that option to do that, but we've already done that. So we're going to custom install. Now for root partition, it's picked up, I want SDA2, ext4, the home will be under the root. I'm not going to create swap at this point in time. And we shall go yes on that. Now as you can see, install grub for Linux and Windows, ESP. It's selected the SDA1, which is the boot partition I created with the boot ESP flags for booting UEFI. So that's the correct selection there. What you might want to watch very carefully here is this progress bar. The progress bar will get to a certain point and it'll tell you that it's waiting for something. Now, sort of, I just sat there waiting for it to finish, and I didn't realize that it was like saying, hey, I'm done. What are you going to do next? So we'll just check that out once it gets to that point. Now, as you can see, it was saying copying new system, and now it says paused for required operator input, and that does that at 94%. It's waiting for me to make these selections, which we already have done. So we'll click on next. Computer name will be MX Desktop because it's my desktop. Give it that name there. I'll select Sumba. Select my appropriate, what was that one? Locale. Australia, English. Australia. Perth. I'll go for 24-hour clock. I think we use local, I believe. Okay, so that's my passwords complete, and we shall go next. Now this is the problem I had, and I'm going to have to let Dolphin Oracle know about this, or just file a bug with MX. NVRAM boot variable update failure. The system may not boot, but it can be repaired with the grub rescue boot menu. I didn't go any further with that. Well, actually, I need to take a screenshot, so we'll do that. Now, what I want to do here is I've been told that they've made some changes to the ISO. Now I'm hoping I've got time to do this because I'm flying out Thursday. It's Tuesday night. I may not have time. I'm hoping I can sort of fit it all in. But I've downloaded the new ISO. Now this error hopefully may not be there. I don't know. But we shall see what happens. So I'm going to click OK on that, and I'm going to see whether that installs or not even after that error, because I didn't try that last time. I believe that it probably won't install, but we'll find out. And you'll find out after this, because I'll be installing with the newer ISO, and we'll try it again. Okay, we don't want to automatically reboot. So I'll see you either in this one if it boots, or if I'm restarting a new live session, you know I'm on the newer ISO. So we are back into the live desktop. That last install did not work. I did not get anything on boot. So we shall try again with a different ISO this time. So see if we get any favorable results out of this one. Okay, just like the first install, it's 94% pause for required operator input. So now what you can do here is you can actually choose to save live desktop changes. You can choose auto login and save password. So what that'll do is if I went to, let's say, for example, MX Tools, and let's just say I want to put let's go to Tweak Tool. And I displayed the panel horizontally on the bottom and apply that like so. Close that. So that's the only change I'm going to make. And I'm going to choose Save Live Desktop Changes. And then we can click Next. Now hopefully I don't get an error on this one. So I've got the same error. So I don't know whether that was another ISO. I've downloaded the same ISO. I'm not 100% sure. So we may have to do a legacy install. So here I am on my Toshiba laptop. So I've had EFI not working on the desktop that I've been trying to install it on. So I'm gonna have a go on my Toshiba laptop. So I have to get rid of Endless OS to do that. I still had that running, wasn't using it much. So I thought best to test EFI on this laptop, because this laptop gives me more grief than anything else. So we'll see how we go. Keyboard settings, US. So I'm going to run the partition tool, and we're going to partition this first. So I'm going to delete everything here. Apply that. Okay, so there's a problem there. I don't know what that's all about. So let's close down the installer. Let's close that, and we'll run gparted separately. Okay, seems to have sorted it out. Seems to be working all right. We'll see how we go with that. 512 megabyte primary partition, FAT32. Add that. We'll have a new. We'll make it 61440. This hard drive's a lot bigger. Primary partition ext4, and we'll make the rest a data partition. So leave those default, and let's apply that. See if we get any errors out of that. Okay, so that seems to have completed successfully anyway. I don't know what that error was. It must have been the way Endless had the disk set up or something, but it definitely cleared the disk off anyway. So now we're going to right click our boot partition and manage flags, just like we did in the desktop, and set ESP boot. Well, actually that's different. ESP and boot. Well, actually it's only... Now that's very unusual, because normally ESP and boot come up together. I'm not sure what the right one is to select there. I'll do what I normally do, ESP and boot, see how we go with that. Unless it's only meant to be ESP, we'll find out. Next, we'll custom install on existing partitions, which we have already created. So root is going to be the 60 gig SDA2, ext4, home will be the root, and there's no swap, and boot will be the root. You can preserve data in this /home if you're selecting that, but I don't have a /home set up, so we'll leave that. And yes, we'll do that. Now, as in the desktop, partition to use for boot is the SDA1 with the ESP checked off there. So normally at the 94% stage, which is right now, pause for required operator input. So we've set this information here already. We're going to go next. We'll call this MX Toshiba. Samba server, next. Australian English, Australia and Perth. 24-hour time. Set it to local, I think. I'm never sure whether that's right or not. Okay, now we can save live desktop changes. So if we go into MX Tools, just quickly before we do anything, and go to the tweak tool, and that's all changed and saved at your .home, and put the panel horizontally on the bottom. So I'm going to make that change, and that's the only change I'm going to make, and that should be the same once we boot into the freshly installed desktop if we get past the EFI. So let's go next. Okay, so that looks like it's installed, no problem. Now, any errors that we have with EFI with MXLinux, we are not blaming MXLinux. It is a beta, but from my experience across the board, this EFI nonsense is just sometimes has the biggest incompatibility issue, I think, with a lot of distros regarding EFI across the board. Never seems to be consistent, and I can never blame the distro for this. I can blame the EFI compatibility. It just, you know, since they've been making EFI on computers, they're so different. I'd have to think that some of the most modern computers are probably more flexible nowadays, but some of the older ones, definitely, they've got some issues. And normally this one has problems, but this time it's the desktop that I've got over here that's having the issue. So we're all good. We've installed on this one, EFI, no problem. Maybe I should go back to legacy. A few people still do. So they're holding on to that and should free my life. Anyway, it's a successful install. We'll come back to the freshly installed desktop soon. So we're back into the desktop of MXLinux. MXLinux 19 Beta 2.1. Now, my panel didn't save, probably because I did that at too late a stage. So you really need to adjust the panel earlier, because Simple Screen Recorder remained installed after install. So I didn't have to reinstall that, so it did remember that. It was just that I left it a little bit too late to adjust the panel. So we'll do that now. We'll go to MX Tools. We'll go to Tweak. And the backup has been, your current panel settings have been backed up in a hidden folder called .restore in your home folder. And if you want to know where that is, your home folder is always under your name. And if you show hidden files, or Control H, and there should be a .restore. And panel, so it's in there. So I'm going to have the panel on the bottom and apply that. I prefer it on the bottom. Now let's have a bit of a look around MXLinux. I'm not really quite sure what they have and have not added or changed. I've just been really trying to get EFI installed first and foremost. So we'll do a search for MX Linux here. I thought it normally opened up, or was that mainly just the, probably mostly the live disk it must open up in Firefox. I thought that was normal, but I thought that was by default. So let's have a look at the news. Beta 2.1. So they got the latest XFCE 4.14, a GIMP 2.10.12 being graphics, and GIMP 2.10. Yep, okay. Firefox 69, Quantum. Music Manager player is Clementine. That's been updated to 1.3.1. Multimedia, Clementine. Yep, okay. Also the Mesa drivers have been updated as well, which is for your, they got updated firmware, but Mesa is for your AMD drivers, I think that is, and the latest Debian kernel 4.19. So email client Thunderbird is 60.8 and Libre Office 6.1. Plus security fixes. App Armor 2.13.2 and more in the MX repos. New and updated MX apps. MX date and time to make clock settings chore easier. So let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at the MX tools. MX date and time. Oh, there we go. So I've got a few little settings there. So it's on the right time anyway, so that's all right. Hardware clock. Okay, so we'll just leave that there. Format USB. There we go there, format USB. Let's check that out. So that looks a little bit similar to the Mint one. Refresh drive list. Okay, file system name and format to whatever. Okay, NTFS, FAT32. Nice. MX package installer now displays version number of Flatpack Applications. So MX package installer. So Flatpaks. So there's your Flatpaks, and as you can see, you got your version numbers on the side here and the size. So that's pretty handy. So that's quite handy indeed. So you can look for your Flatpaks. They should have Zoom in here somewhere, I would have thought. Zoom, there we go. So that's quite handy. Now if you want snaps, you need to boot into System D. So I might show you a little later on how to do that. You've got your Debian backports, your MX test repo, your stable repo, and popular applications. Let's cancel that. And popular applications, and they're your popular applications. Very handy indeed. You got all the previous MX wallpapers, video, Kdenlive, Grub Customizer, Redshift, Synapse. So you've got a whole heap of stuff here. Kodi and Plex, Handbrake, WinFF, Discord, Pigeon, Skype, audio applications there, browsers, even Google Chrome. So they've got, look at the browsers they've got there. So they've really upped the amount of browsers they've got available now. I don't remember them having that many available, so that's pretty good. Stuff for your children, desktop environments, development, docs, email, file managers, Flash, Adobe Flash, FTP, games, Steam, Play on Linux, graphics, Blender. That's cool. Blender is at 2.8. Does it tell you here? Info. No, it doesn't tell you. That doesn't. Does it tell you the version number? It doesn't tell you the version number, does it? Or do we have to? No version number there, which is a bit disappointing. Be nice to know which Blender that is. Icons, start menu button icons, kernels, language, and you've got a heap of languages there. Miscellaneous, Google Earth, Java, KeyPass, VirtualBox, Wine, networking, newsreader, Office, SoftMaker Free Office, printing, remote access, Team Viewer, Screencast, OBS, and Simple Screen Recorder I installed, Screensaver, Screenshot Utilities, Server, Themes, Adapter, Obsidian, and that is the popular apps. Let's just get rid of the language one. That's a little bit too much, but failing that, yep, we've got it all here. And you've also got the backports, the test repo. Probably only best to use those in the event that you really need to try out. If you're having issues with certain applications and you want to try the latest one, possibly, you can go to Debian backports and try that. You've got the stable repo, so you can search for any applications in there. The MX test repo. And I like the way they can just change from repo to repo. It's pretty cool. So if we have a look at Libre Office in the Debian backports at 6.3.1, and what do we have in here under Office? Help and About is 6.1.52, 6.1.52, and you in the Debian backports you got 6.3.1. So there's a good example if you really needed something that LibreOffice in 6.3's got, something that's on offer that you really need and you have to update, then you got the option to do so. And then you got your Flatpaks there, which we've looked at already. MX Alerts, package for sending emergency messages to users. Nice. MX Updater no longer requires a password to check for updates. New wallpaper artwork. Updated themes, tons of miscellaneous updates to the MX tools. Most help files are now available on the ISO. So sysvinit remains the default init system. Systemd is available as a boot option on installed systems, but not on live systems. In other words, exactly the same as MX 17 and 18. Set your GTK scaling and appearance. New Konkey configs. So there's a few updates going on there, and that's pretty handy. So let's have a quick look through what we've got here. Now in accessories, we'll just quickly go through some of these. Konkey toggle, Konkey manager, development, games, graphics, internet, multimedia, MX tools, plenty of MX tools, Office, settings, and system. So if we go to the MX tools and have a quick look in here, you can make a live USB maker, a snapshot, set your boot options, menu editor, boot repair, user manager, cleanup, codecs installer. So let's do that. Let's install the codecs. Do you assume legal responsibility for downloading these codecs? Okay. So you might want to check that in your local area to make sure that by law you're allowed to do that. Codecs have been downloaded and installed successfully. Now I've got the Konkey here. Now I did make some changes to the Konkey, and I think I made myself a little cheat sheet for that. Now in here I've got Konkey custom colors, so this is what I set my colors at. Now first of all, let's have a look at, let's check out the backgrounds, desktop settings. And they've got some really awesome looking backgrounds here now, as you can see. Now I like this one here. That's pretty cool. Now what I did is I made a picture from this one here in GIMP. If we right click this menu here and go to properties and click on icon, use a local share icons, which is where the default is. User local share. So if we go to pictures and we'll choose this one here and OK. So there's my globe. Okay, and with the Konkey, if I can find which one it is. Okay, and we open, so that's the backgrounds. So we're going to go to Tweak, MX Tools, and Konkey here. And we're going to make changes to this. So the default So that were the colors that I saved, the random colors that I changed in one of the videos I was making. Well, actually, I was just messing around. Yeah, that's preserved the original file. So it's been saved up as that one there. Okay. So I thought that's how I'd like the Konkey to look to match this background. So they're the colors I chose. So that all looks pretty good. So I like the way that the Konkey can be manipulated there. It's quite handy. So the MX tools are quite handy. Now there's another one in the tweak here, I believe. Somebody on our BigDaddyLinux Live, Mo West, his name is Steve. Apparently his son was working on a theme here. I'm pretty sure it's this one. So you got the Firefox dark theme tweak. Now I may have to get hold of some themes. So Quagga Win here, I might copy that to my home folder and make a .themes, create folder, .themes. And paste that here, extract here. Let's go to the appearance. Well, actually, let's go to the proper settings manager, and let's go to appearance in there, and there should be a Quagga Win. Go back to all settings and window manager, and we'll do that one there. Well, actually, what was the window manager? What was the default for that? I'm bad at looking at defaults before I change things. Might have been Greybird MX. Arc Dark and appearance, we'll go for Quagga. Sorry, we needed that in here, Arc Dark. Arc Darker probably was, and then we close that. Go back to Window Manager, and then we'll put that on Quagga. Okay. So the whole reason I'm doing that is we want to choose a theme set. There's some theme sets in there, or we can save current settings as a theme set. So Cole's Quagga. So let's see if that works. Let's save that, and then let's choose another theme set, MX Dark, and apply that. So that's MX Dark. So my theme set's not showing up, so I might try get out of there and then try again. Theme. So there's no theme set saved. We've got a preview there, so there's a preview to check that. There's a preview for that one. Preview for that one. MX Lite preview. Close. That's apply that one. Okay. So if I go back to appearance and change that to this one here, and then go to Window Manager and change that to this one here. Close that and save that. I'll just call it one name, see if that makes any difference. But it's not saving in there though, is it? So save current. So it's not showing anything's in there either. So maybe that's still a work in progress. I thought you could actually save theme set there, but I like the little previews and that they've got going on there. That's quite handy. And then you've got panel settings in here as well. Which goes behind that window when it opens up. Let's close that. So that is the MX tools, and there's plenty of tools to go through there. Quick system info if you need info on your system there. So that all works good. Got your welcome screen there. Tweak your panel tools and so forth. Forums, videos, contribute, codecs. So that's all there when you first boot up. It's pretty handy. User manager. And you got a whole heap of things to use for your user manager here. And you got a nice little copy program in here as well, which is always very handy. So one thing I want to check out is I'm going to go to YouTube. I want to try a screen tearing test. Not a teasing test. Tearing test. And out of the box we don't have any screen tearing. So that is one thing I've noticed with the new XFCE 4.14 is the screen tearing seems to be managed a lot better than it was on the 4.12. So that's two computers that have come up with a positive result for screen tearing tests. So that's pretty handy. Now we have updates here. So if we click the green box and we have a look at what's being updated, there's quite a few things here being updated. Few MX tools as well, so there might be some updates. So we'll click. So when you're updating, you click on this green box to open this up. So just remember, click on the green box to update. So you can have an automatic answer of yes to all prompts during upgrade if you want to do that. So let's upgrade that. And yes to that. So if I click the automatic yes prompt, that would have gone straight through. So when you get to here, I sort of tend to just stick with the default, so just enter. And once again, I'll just stick with the defaults. That's the updates complete, and you just press any key to close the terminal, and that is the update complete for MX Linux. So we're going to have a quick look at booting MX Linux. So let's check that out. We're going to have a look at the option to boot into System D. So what we have here is on boot up, we have the default selection MX19 Petito Feo, and then we have the advanced options here. If we go into advanced, you will see that you have System D option there. Press enter on that one and you will log in to MX Linux under System D with the option of installing snaps. Now I'm not really sure whether snaps are installed already or whether we have to install snapd. Sudo apt install snapd. So you have to install snapd before you can install snaps. So that's the snapd application installing there. So if we try sudo snap install Telegram, snap search Telegram. So we're looking for Telegram-desktop. So as you can see, snaps are working now that we've installed snapd. Sudo apt install, no, sudo snap install Telegram-desktop. Now the interesting thing, do we still have all options for everything else in here under MX Tools Package Installer? Let's have a look at the package installer, and we still have the option of doing everything else as well. So not only can we install the snap, but we can install Flatpaks and anything else from the popular applications, backports and so forth. For some people, they don't want to run systemd, so if you're not into snaps and you just want it and you're happy running Flatpaks, then you don't need to do anything. You can just install with the default selection. Otherwise, you have the option there of going into systemd and installing snaps. That looks like it's going to take a long time, 2 hours to install that. I don't know what's going on with that. Must have slow internet tonight, so I'm not going to continue that. I shall get out of there, but the whole point of this is you can see that snaps is running no problem at all. So we'll close that window. And that is how to boot into systemd and install snaps on MX Linux 19 Beta 2. Anyway, that is MX Linux 19 Beta 2.1. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting and informative. And thanks for watching.